Bombshell tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. Tonight, a Nolan Wells phone evidence torpedo. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
All but, I believe, one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me, that they all passed.
Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test.
Nobody's guilty, and everybody's a suspect. We don't know the truth yet, but we will.
We have had multiple witnesses reach out to us, two confirmed witnesses that saw Nolan Wells on the island around 6 p.m. on July 4th, well after the Triton, as you said, left around 4:30. And so those witnesses have went to investigators, they've talked to the police, and they've done what they're supposed to do. These witnesses know Nolan. They've known him for a long time. They were able to make a positive ID. And they told that to investigators. They told them that from the very start.
What witnesses? Where? Who, what, where, why, and when? That is a renowned trial lawyer named Tyler Cox, and he is representing the acquaintances of Nolan's that took him to Horn Island on their boat, the Triton. Curious, we've seen, hey, let's pull up that video, control room, of everyone getting on the boat before they went to Horn Island. It's very interesting, evidentiarily. Okay, here we go. This was from the Officer Tatum show, and you're about to see people. There they are down at the right. And there's actual video of people see the boat at about 1 o'clock. Oh, there we go. Excellent shot, guys. People are getting on, people getting off. And it keeps going to where you see everybody that got on the boat. But here's my big question tonight, before I can even get to the alleged witnesses that Tyler Cox is telling us about. Dave Mack, joining me, Crime Stories investigative reporter. Can I see the video again, please? Dave Mack, I'm seeing everybody preparing the Triton to go out, preparing to go out. In this shot, they're down at about 3 o'clock. Okay, keep looking. 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then suddenly you switch to a different camera. There you go. That's the boat. So, Dave Mack, where is the evidence? Where is the video of the boat? Is that Nolan right there? Walking along the light blue shorts, and he at that time had on a white shirt. I think that's Nolan right there. Dave Mack, where is the evidence, the video evidence of them coming back?
Nancy, we have not seen evidence of them coming back. Remember, 3 boats caravanned out to the island, and then we have different stories about when they arrived back on the mainland. But we don't have video of any of them showing back up. So we don't have that
video.
Correct.
Okay, let's circle back to the alleged witnesses that... He's a great trial lawyer, by the way. Wins a lot of cases. This Tyler Cox, he's representing the acquaintances that went to Horn Island with Nolan. I've got to get to the phone torpedo, but he's not the only one that says they have witnesses. Listen.
These 2 witnesses, 2 very reliable, very credible, and very upstanding members of the community, they saw Nolan, and they've known Nolan for years. There's no chance that they made a mistake. And by the way, this can be corroborated through other evidence, other eyewitness accounts. And that's the end of it right there.
That's from the Officer Tatum show. Susan Hendricks joining me, veteran, investigative journalist, author of Down the Hill, My Descent into the Double Murder in Delphi. What witnesses? I understand that there's video and witnesses. One places him there at 5, one places him there at 6. Significance, the Triton, and we can show this by GPS. They are right about this.
All but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me that they all passed. Nancy, my clients have not taken a polygraph test. That is the sound of a defense attorney dismantling a public narrative in real time. One voice says everybody passed. Another voice says nobody took the test. And in that gap between what was said and what was true, the entire investigation into the death of 18-year-old Nolan Wells began to fracture. Welcome back to Project Cold Case. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you're subscribed to Project Cold Case. Because we don't just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Think of a torpedo. It is a self-contained weapon designed to travel through water, detonate upon impact, and sink everything above it. Tonight, the evidence from Nolan Wells' phone was supposed to be the weapon that would either exonerate or indict.
We've already established that. Here's the other, you know what? I'm going to let you think about what you just said. I'm going to go to Jeff Shetler joining us. Guys, this is a special guest joining us out of Edisto Island, South Carolina. Former police K-9 handler, author of 5 books. Last one, 2 weeks to operational tracking. I like this one. Red Dog Rising. K-9 trailing, the straightest path, tactical tracker teams, the Tao of trailing. He is at gak9.com. Question, I get this a lot from the viewers, so you can put it to rest. How long does a person have to be dead before a cadaver dog will pick up on that scent?
Well, honestly, a dog's going to pick up on the live or dead scent as soon as they're out there. So the time frame, from hours to a day or so is really not a big deal. It doesn't matter what type of dog you have that's looking for humans. Within that first 24 hours, either type of dog, a live find or a deceased person dog, is going to be viable. They're going to pick up on anything that's there. The big issue that we have here is primarily the contamination. After the fact, if the dog was placed at the scene initially to search for our victim, then the chances are the success rate would actually be pretty good. The island is very, very small. There's not a lot of hiding places. There's not a lot of places he could go. On the other hand, inside the water might be a different story. We have tide issues and everything else that are occurring there.
So you bring in a scent dog. I would assume you bring in a scent dog first. But the issue with that, in my mind, probatively, like what can I use? How can I use that in trial? What's it going to prove for me? I already know Nolan's
But instead
on
of
the
a
boat.
detonation, we are left with a warhead that has been sitting on the dock for weeks. It has been examined, analyzed, and yet it remains a shell of what it should be. The phone torpedo is in the water, but nobody is sure if it is heading toward the truth or away from it. The timeline is the first point of impact. We know that Nolan Wells traveled to Horn Island, a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, with friends on the 4th of July. We know his friends returned. We know Nolan did not. 2 days later, on July 6th, his body was found face down in the water near the northwestern tip of the island. That is where the agreement ends. The stories presented by the acquaintances on the Triton do not line up. According to the transcripts, one friend claims Nolan told them he was staying behind with a girl he met on the island. The young woman in question reportedly gave a different account, that Nolan said he was heading back to the boat. This is not a minor detail. It is the distinction between a young man who chose to remain and a young man who was left behind. A former prosecutor has stated that this timeline of resolving contradictions matters more than most people realize.
And organic compounds. Could you translate what I just said, which I've said in court before, into regular people talk?
Yeah, so our building blocks are cells, and so those cells begin to break down. And you're right. People don't understand that human decomposition literally begins at a cellular level the moment we're gone, okay? So the two compounds that you're looking for here when it comes to cadaver searches utilizing canine assets are putrescine and cadaverine, or cadaverine as well. And what they are, they're an organic compound that combine as a result of the cellular breakdown, and it gives off a particular odor. Now, to what Jeff was saying just a moment ago, if there is some type of, let's just say, blood evidence, all right, on the boat, that I pray this boat was locked down quickly. If there's a point of impact, say, for instance, on a railing, any of the gunnels in there, those areas in there, and you have blood deposition, guess what happens, Nancy? That blood begins to break down, just like a body does, okay? So
somebody is not telling the truth. Somebody is holding the missing piece. Somebody is not telling the truth if. But let's move to the alleged witnesses. A renowned trial lawyer, Tyler Cox, representing the acquaintances, told the media that they have 2 witnesses. These are described as reliable, credible, and very upstanding members of the community. They claim to have seen Nolan Wells on the island around 500 or 1600 p.m. on July 4th. The significance is that the Triton left Horn Island around 4:30 p.m., based on GPS data. If these witnesses are correct, the acquaintances on the Triton are in the clear. Nolan was on the island after they left. The defense is trying to create a clean break. However, the analysis of this witness testimony reveals a problem. The video evidence shown in the investigation allegedly only shows a view from behind. Someone bending over in blue shorts, supposedly Nolan. The forensic legal analysis points out the weaknesses of such an identification. How far away was the witness? What was the lighting? Were they wearing glasses? Had they been drinking? You go on and on and on, a veteran trial lawyer noted. An identification based on the back of a person's legs in a party scene is not a solid foundation for a case. This brings us to the central issue, the phone evidence torpedo. The family had the phone. They said messages were deleted from it, but the family denies doing so. The family also didn't voluntarily disclose that they had Nolan's phone and keys after his death. They tracked the phone using Life 360 and recovered it themselves. That is a crucial admission. The digital evidence is critical because it represents the last day of this young man's life. Text.
This examination, you don't just pick up the phone and go, okay, I looked at it. What is a phone examination? How do I get evidence of potential snaps that were sent that day, texts, emails, photos taken during those critical hours? And important, how do I find out if anything was deleted? We've heard, yes, it's deleted. No, it wasn't deleted. The only way we're going to know is from a forensics exam. How do you do it? Now, take baby steps. Go ahead.
It's pretty easy nowadays. You get the physical phone itself. You hook it up to a device like the Cellbrite, which is one of the main producers of this type of software that can download phones. First of all, obviously, you have to have the password to the phone. If not, then you have to go through a lot of processes to get past the password and into the phone. But once you're into the phone, and this can be done with other people standing by, as you were talking about, another investigator for the defense or for the family or something like that being there, they can sit there and watch you download the phone. And basically, once you download a copy of what's on the phone, and you're not really messing with the evidence that's on the phone, you're not changing it, you're just copying it to another computer, and then you can start going through that data. You can look at all the text messages, and it'll even let you know which ones have been deleted. Now, of course, deleted means, it's
Put them up, please. Put them up, please. What do you see when you're looking for deleted? Do you see like you log on and you just see all this data, X's and O's and digits, and how do I tell something's been deleted? Explain that to me. I mean, unless it's in recently deleted, but even my twins at age 3 knew how to go into my phone and find recently deleted and delete it. How do you find it?
So it's actually just, on the computer screen, you're looking at all the lists of text messages, and it says right to the right of it, this one was deleted. So in an aspect, if it hadn't been overwritten, think about how computers work. You delete something just like a phone. You delete something, it kind of takes it and moves it into a non-use to an area you're not using. And then once, if the phone starts getting full, it starts writing over that deleted stuff. So things that were deleted at some point in time are still there and can be recovered. The actual texts of the text message, the content of the text message is still there
Snapchats,
until
photos, location data. These could provide the timeline that witnesses cannot. Yet, the process of examining the phone became a battle. On July 15th, the family's attorney met with investigators and agreed to hand over the phone, but with a condition: they wanted a neutral third-party expert present to observe the extraction. They wanted to be assured of the chain of custody, who would have access to the extracted data. and how the extraction would be performed. This is standard operating procedure in high-stakes cases. It is not obstruction, it is preservation. But then, while the family was out of state at the National Association of Black Journalists Conference, the DA's office sent a demand letter. It gave the family 24 hours to turn over the phone. Now, let's look at the consequence. A district attorney agreed to present this case to a grand jury. Is that a signal of a criminal investigation? Perhaps. But the sheriff declared no foul play before the autopsy, toxicology, and digital evidence were finished. How can an official state there is no criminal investigation when they haven't even examined the phone? The official in question seems to suggest that if a person drowns, it is just a drowning. But that is a flawed assumption. How did he get in the water? Did he hit his head? Was he held under? You can't declare a case closed when the cause of death is pending an autopsy. You can't say an event isn't a crime when you haven't looked at the evidence. You can't declare it over when you haven't looked at the phone. The role of the FBI is also unclear. The FBI is involved in examining the digital evidence, but the jurisdiction belongs to the local sheriff, despite the island being federal land.
Crime analysis. Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. Stream it first on Fox 1. I hope to see you there, and thank you, friend. If you know or think you know anything regarding the death of this young man, Nolan Wells, dial 228-769-3063. Repeat, 228-769-3063. We are not letting go of the Nolan Wells investigation. Tonight, we remember an American hero, Deputy Sheriff Brian Philip Gross, Converse County Sheriff's, Wyoming, just 29, killed in the line of duty, leaving behind grieving wife turned widow Amy. American hero, Deputy Sheriff Brian Philip Gross. Thank you to our guests, but especially to you for being with us tonight and our search for the truth, wherever that may lead us, in the Nolan Wells death. Nancy Grace signing off for tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then, good night, friend. Hi, guys. Please join us on our mission to find missing people, especially children, to solve unsolved homicides. And if you're on the go, please join us on your favorite podcast app where you can get all our content, where we, in our way, seek justice.
This creates a situation where the local authorities are making the public calls, while the federal authorities may be holding the actual evidence. The family is so afraid of mishandling that they asked for a mediator. They cited past cases where evidence was destroyed, such as the Ellen Greenberg case where a crime scene was professionally cleaned and a video of the apartment was lost by police. The family is not hiding the phone, they are trying to protect it, as somebody is not telling the truth. The question we are left with is this: if the phone contains the most critical evidence in the case, why has the public conversation shifted to the family's refusal to hand it over, rather than the content of the investigation? Is it easier to blame the grieving parents than to look at the facts of the case? The narrative is that the family is not cooperating, but the reality is they have offered to produce the phone on multiple occasions, pending the arrival of their expert. They have said, "We are ready for it to happen." They are cooperating. They are just not allowing the state to examine the evidence in a vacuum. The friends have hired attorneys, and those attorneys traveled to the island to investigate the layout and dynamic. The family has retained Ben Crump and is running a parallel investigation with private forensics. Over 60 witnesses have been interviewed. Yet, after all of this, the public has more questions than answers. The friends have given conflicting accounts, and the public's rush to assign motive, racial or otherwise, may be obscuring what the evidence actually shows. Somebody is not telling the truth. WC, we invite you to review the public court records of the ongoing grand jury proceedings. The question we leave with you is, do you believe the family has a right to an independent observer during the phone extraction, or is that an attempt to control the narrative? Let us know in the comments. This has been Project Cold Case. If you found this investigation compelling, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications to ensure you never miss an update. We will follow this case until the truth emerges,